I just made my own swimsuit and I genuinely thought it would be terrifying. Stretchy fabric, swim elastic, all those horror stories about things going baggy. But here's the thing, it actually wasn't that bad. And in fact, I actually really loved it. So if you've ever wanted to sew your own swimwear but talked yourself out of it, consider this a sign. Let me show you how it all came together and why you might want to make one too. And welcome back to my channel. My name is Kate and this is Ripper Seams. So today I'm tackling some swimwear and yeah, this has been on my makes wish list for this year, and given that summer is definitely in full swing, it's time to get stuck into it. So whilst I've been making a lot of summery things the last few months, I haven't tackled swimwear because basically it scares me a little bit. But given the window for wearing this swimwear this year is getting ever so smaller every single day, I thought it is about time to give it a go. Now I have had a go at making swimwear before, but I also tried to make it last minute before I went on my holiday to Australia. As a result, it turned out okay, but definitely could have been better, which is why we're going to give swimwear another go. But I'm going to make a different pattern this time. This time round, I'm going to be using the St Tropez pattern by Styla. Now I landed on this particular pattern because there are lots of variations included within it. It gives you options for the amount of coverage you might want, and ultimately I just really liked the style lines. Now there are two options for the top half. The first is your regular bikini, but you can either have a standard crossover or a tie back for that one, and you also have a tankini option if you really want to get that extra coverage. For the bottoms you can choose either medium or full coverage, and you can choose either a low waistline or a mid-rise yoga band type waistline. So lots of different options you can mix and match. And with most of Styla Patterns, there's a really good size range here going from 0 all the way up to 32. That's a bust size from 31.5 inches through to 59. And funnily enough, it is actually the sizing which motivates me to want to be able to make my own swimwear and make it well, because when you are quite a different size between your top and your bottom, trying to find swimwear that fits both, it's been one of my bugbears my whole entire life, which is also why I like wearing two pieces for swimwear, because you can mix and match the top and the bottom sizing. I always hated it when ready to wear bikini sets came in one size, because to get a set that fit me properly, I'd have to buy two, and swimwear crazily is not cheap, which is why I want to get good at making my own. So anyway, I thought I'd bring you along on my swimwear odyssey. Yep, let's go see if this actually turns out, if I am going to have a better success than last time. So yeah, let's get stuck into it. Right, so we're up in my sewing room and the hot weather has just started. It is boiling in here, so yeah, we better get a crack on. So the version of the St Tropez which I'm going to make is the simple bikini top here, but with the tie back. It is actually the tie back that drew me towards this particular pattern, so yeah, that's an absolute must. For the bottoms, I am going to go for the full coverage bottoms, and I'm going to go for the lower waistline. I kind of learnt from my Megan Nielsen make, the Cottesloe. I did the higher waist for those bottoms, and out of the whole entire make, that was what I was not a fan of. So I'm going to play it safe and I'm going to go for the lower waistband option, and hopefully that's going to be a lot better for me. So let's talk about the fabric that I'm going to use, and it is this one here. It is a print on demand lycra fabric which I got from Funki Fabrics. This base is called a flex all-rounder. It does have four-way stretch, so top and bottom and side to side, and yeah, I went for this really fun and funky animal print in this magenta color. Most of the time when it comes to swimsuits, I'm very drawn towards tropical prints, so you've got your palm leaves and your hibiscus, kind of frangipani and so on. So I thought I'd go for something a little bit different, a little bit more bold, and landed on this lovely print. I think it will take this St Tropez styling really well, and yeah, really fun to see how it turns out. For the lining, I'm using this Eco Nile, I think that's what it's called, lining. It is designed specifically for swimwear. It is extremely stretchy, but it's also soft, so it's going to be really nice against the skin. Obviously being black, it will go with the animal print quite nicely here, just in case you happen to see the reverse for whatever reason. So yeah, I'm happy with the black lining. There is an option to put an extra layer of power mesh in there and attaching a bra cup to the inside for those who need extra support. Don't think I need the extra support for the power mesh, so I'm just going to go for the plain black. But I am going to be using a cup insert just for a bit of extra stability and shaping. This is one from Prim. It is specifically designed for swimwear. I'm not too sure about the shape, we'll see, but there is an option to insert this in between your main fabric and your lining without having to attach it to the power mesh layer. So yeah, that's the option I'm going for. If I don't like it, I'll take it out. I wouldn't have that option if I use the power mesh. So I've cut everything out already, so let's see if I can successfully sew up this St Tropez swimsuit. So let's wind it back just a little bit to the cutting out process. Just for reference, I have 1¼ meters of this all-rounder lycra from Funki Fabrics, and I only ended up using 1 meter of it for this make. So I do have some left over if I want to make another set of bottoms if I feel like it, or if I manage to stuff this up. As you can see, my furry pattern weights are well on task and making sure that fabric is going nowhere. Now, pattern pieces are all cut out, including the lining, so time to get sewing. First up are the crossover shoulder straps. Now these straps have hidden elastic in them, giving them an extra amount of support, which I wasn't expecting, but I absolutely totally love. After turning the crossover straps the right way out, it's now time to finish off with some top stitching, and I'm just using a regular lightning stitch here. Next up are the tie straps, very straightforward here. They are nice and wide, but there is quite a curve to sew at the pointy bit, so do go slow here and keep it neat. I actually ended up drawing in some guidelines here just to help me out a little bit. To finish these off, we just trim off some bulk and then turn them the right way round. Alright, so far so good. We have got 2 shoulder straps and we have 2 back ties. Really loved attaching the elastic using the overlocker. That was the bit I was actually most worried about with this make. Trying to keep that elastic in place whilst you're zigzagging over the top of it and keeping it a straight line is something I really struggled last time I made swimwear. Applying the elastic with the overlocker right against the edge, brilliant stuff. If that's the pattern going forward, I have high hopes that this will be a decent garment at the end. But you know what? Early days yet. We're celebrating over some straps. Let's get the rest of it sorted out. So next on the agenda is getting the front pieces done. And that's putting the mane with the lining and getting those cups into place. This will be the trickier part. I'm going to have to pay attention, so time to get on with it. So first up with the front cups is to baste the lining to the main fabric. The lining is just a touch smaller than the main fabric, which will help keep it tucked away just as we want it. Then it's time for more elastic along the inner edge of each cup. Now to help keep this in place for the overlocker, I'm pulling out my trusty glue stick, letting it dry before hitting it with the machine. Absolutely love this stuff. Also loving using the overlocker to secure the elastic. It's very quick and it's very neat. And then we've got a little bit of understitching just to stop that front edge from flipping over. And now for the outer cup edge. Now this is a thinner elastic and I'll be using this see-through stuff. The curves and the fitting elastic was a little bit too much chaos for my liking, so the glue stick came to the rescue once again. It's another run through on the overlocker, and then it's time to attach the crossover straps to the top of each triangle. Everything fit as it should, and after sewing them in place, this swimsuit is starting to take shape. Alright, we are getting along swimmingly with this make, pardon the pun. But yeah, we have got 2 front pieces here. And we're now at the bit where we get to put in these little bra cups into the front. I wasn't sure if I wanted to use these or not, so I've had a little of a weird try-on session with them. Nothing that you need to see. I've put them in and yeah, they're totally fine to go. I'm going to put them in. I think they're going to be useful. There is some gathering under the bust, so we're going to crack on with that next. There is a bit of a crossover moment with both sides here in the middle, and then once that's in place and basted, we can then put the strap on. So yeah, it's coming together really nicely. This is by far a much better experience than what I had with the Cottesloe swimsuit. The instructions are incredibly detailed, and at not one point have I felt uncomfortable doing any of this. So yeah, I'm really impressed so far, but obviously we've got to get to the end. There is still time for this to be a disaster, but so far, so good. Now this is where things get a little bit tricky, but only a little. Now we're going to trap those swim cups in between the lining and the main fabric and create some basting stitches so that we can gather the base of each of those triangles to help with the cup shaping. Now we do have to get it to line up with the front band, so time to get that ruler out. Now there is some overlap with the 2 cups to help create some really good coverage with this top. Now once everything's where it should be, I'll just baste it into place before adding the front band. Now if you've measured everything correctly, this should all line up perfectly. Alright, fast forward 24 hours and yeah, we're starting to have something that looks like the top of a swimsuit. Sewing quite late last night. Had to take a break, have a sleep, go to work, back the following evening, and here we are ready to get on to the next steps of this particular top. Now, where did I actually get up to? Let me just unpin Barbara. She's having a little bit of acupuncture right now whilst she shows this off. So here is the top in its current form. We have the crossback straps all here ready to attach. The lining is all in place. The bra cups are all enclosed in the triangular sections. All our gathering detail is complete. And the last step we got up to last night was actually inserting a line of elastic right underneath the bust line there. That's going to give it a lot of support going forward. So the next step is to actually attach the ties here, cross them over, attach them to the sides, and then put our other tie straps on there as well. Once that's done, we finish off the bottom with the last lot of elastic that goes in here, and that is the top done. So I'm going to crack on with that now, get that finished tonight, and hopefully tomorrow we can finish off the bottoms all in one sitting. So let's get on with that. Now, this step required some concentration. I needed to cross those shoulder straps over each other and then pin them into place without actually twisting them. Definitely triple check that one before sewing. And then you get those wider straps and you layer them on top of the seam that you just created. Now, you do need to leave a gap at the bottom here for a later step, so do keep that ruler handy, but otherwise sew it, top stitch it, and straps are done. Oof, man, it's hot. It is hot, let me tell you. Anyway, we have now secured the side ties to my whole entire bikini top, and we're almost done. Now, I just got to say, I made a right mess of attaching these tie things with my overlocker. I've got an entry-level brother overlocker. It really did not like the multiple layers of lycra here. In fact, it was the elastic bit that made it have a hissy fit. So as a result, it wasn't the cleanest finish on both sides. You would have thought I'd learnt from one side, but no, I did it on both sides. But it still came together. It is still totally fine, and I've managed to overlock the edges and top stitch down. I think in hindsight, doing these particular side seams with a zigzag stitch, yeah, would have been heaps better. Having sewn in the ends, top stitched it down, you know what, it's totally fine. I'm not mad at it at all. But otherwise, we're almost there. Now, whilst this isn't completely finished, it is in a wearable state, and I've just done a fit check and I'm really excited. It's looking so, so good. So I just really hope the final touches that I've put on this top end up just as good as everything else that's going on here, and I get the bottoms to match. All I've got to do now to finish this off is to attach another thin line of elastic to the bottom of this band, fold it up, and then stitch it into place, and then we're done. So far, it's been a pretty pleasurable make. Really love where I am at the moment, so excited to get it done. The last step of this top is to attach some elastic to the lower front band. Now, the elastic to fabric ratio here is 1:1, so no stretching needed, and it's not tricky stuff. Now, I popped on a little bit more glue here to keep that edge neatly into place when I turned it over, and then it's simply top stitched into place. I've used a simple lightning stitch once again here, job done. Ta-da! I finished the top. Oh my goodness, I am so pleased with it. It looks amazing. It's on Barbara. It's not even meant to fit Barbara. It's meant to fit me. It looks even better on me. But check out this top. I am over the moon with how this is going so far. I'm a little bit nervous now because I don't want to stuff up the bottoms because the top is so good. But yeah, as you can see, this top, this elastic has gone in at the bottom really nicely. Lovely, lovely. Just everything's lovely. The back. Check this out. How amazing does this back look? We've got the lovely tie here. We've got this crisscross over at the top. Everything is sitting beautifully. It looks even better on me, like I said. And yeah, okay, I'm feeling confident about swimwear now. And compared to where I was with the Megan Nielsen one, this is obviously a lot more complicated, but this has also turned out heaps better. It's almost midnight. It is stinking hot here in my sewing room, so I'm gonna call it quits for the night as much as I really wanna keep sewing. So I'm gonna come back tomorrow after work, clear head, just refreshed, focused on finishing those bottoms so I don't stuff them up. Now the bottom should be relatively straightforward. There is just 4 pieces, the front and the back and the matching lining, but we do have to get the elastic in. The elastic gets joined in the round first, and then we stretched it to fit the leg holes. That's the bit I'm a bit worried about because not excited about that. But Zen, just I'll let it come over me. We're going to get it done. I do like the idea of overlocking the elastic in. That was fine when I didn't have to stretch it. Might be a different story when I do. So let me read up the instructions. I'll think about which technique I'm going to prefer, and we'll go from there. So wish me luck. It's pants sandwich time. Yep, we're getting all 4 layers of those pants all on top of each other and sewing the bottom and 2 side seams together. Now, with a bit of a flippity-dippity magic, those exposed seams magically disappear. Very, very cool. But now it's time for the scary bit, the leg elastic. So we've got 2 leg holes to complete here, and I'm using that see-through elastic again. It's a simple case of quartering the elastic circle that you create and matching it to your quartered leg hole. Now, I thought this was going to be an absolute nightmare, but the elastic is actually only just an inch off from being the same length as the fabric. So getting this sewed in was a bit of a non-event, which I was very happy about.
One eternity later.
So it is now exactly 1 week later since we last spoke, and I still have not finished the bottoms of this St Tropez swimsuit. So a lot has happened in the last week that has taken my attention away from sewing. We've had house guests. My husband and I went off to Bath for a few days and had a wonderful time there. Bath's a really, really nice city. But yes, I have just one last step left to do with these bikini bottoms, and yeah, it's taken me a whole week to get around to doing it. So the reason for the delay is actually me deciding to choose a different color of elastic. Up until this point, I've been using white elastic for the widest of the elastics that you need for this particular make. That's been fine because it's been enclosed within the garment here, in particularly in the top, but you do insert it on the waistline here and you flip it over. But there is potential that if this band does happen to flip over at some point, you might still see a glimpse of white. I'm going to be picky. I don't want that. So I decided to go and order some more black elastic in the width that I need. This is a massive roll, which I got off Amazon. I really like this particular brand of elastic, though. It's really great. So this isn't specifically swimwear elastic. It's really, really hard to find wider width elastic in like a 12 to 15 millimeter gauge. This is the best I could find, let alone find it in black. So for this one, I'm just going to forgo the requirement for having chlorine resistant elastic. It does say you can use regular elastic. So we're just going for this stuff here. And yeah, I just want everything to match. That's all we're after here. I know you can get rubber swim elastic in wider widths. However, the instructions specifically say that rubber swim elastic is not suitable for this project. I don't know why it says that. I don't know why there's a difference. If you happen to know why you would avoid using the rubber elastic, yeah, let me know down in the comments. But yeah, anyway, seriously, we have one load of elastic left to go right around that top waistband. We sew it in with the overlocker like we have with everything else, and then we fold it over and we top stitch it in place. But I haven't even talked about the finished leg holes yet, but here they are. All done. It wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought it would be. It was only 1 inch difference between the elastic and the actual size of the holes, so you really aren't stretching it all that much. So yeah, this was really, really nice to put in. Now, I kind of wish I'd taken a little pause before I just went straight in there and top stitched. I decided to do a normal kind of wider zigzag finish right around the legs. I thought it would secure the elastic a little bit better, which it definitely did, but I forgot that I really wanted to use my twin needle for the top stitching for this, not just for the bottoms, but for the top as well. My whole entire thought for using a twin needle to do some of the top stitching for this whole entire make just evaporated from my head until I had finished this very last bit of top stitching and went, oops, I forgot to do that. But that's okay, lessons learned. I can tell you now, I'm most likely going to be making another pair of these again in future. So I'll remember that for next time. Am I mad that I did the top stitching and the zigzagging? No, I'm not. It turned out perfectly fine. It's all wearable. I just kind of wish I had lengthened the stitch a little bit. I widened the stitch just to make sure I was catching as much of that elastic. Kind of wish I did that because it is quite compacted around there. I think it could have been nicer if I had just lengthened out that stitch. But yep, it's a lesson learned and I'm okay with it. I'm just going to finish off this pair. I'm going to do that now because this has taken me a long time, a lot longer than I wanted to, and I'm just frightened the warm weather is going to go away and I can't wear these. So yeah, let's crack on. We're on the home stretch, people, and we're using the thicker elastic here, and we've switched to the black for this particular step. It's exactly the same as the legs, really. The elastic is just a fraction shorter than the edge it's being attached to, so there is minimum stretching needed here. Just quarter it, match your markings, sew it into place, do some top stitching, and job done. Now, I have absolutely no idea why I waited a whole entire week just to finish this step, but we're here now, and I think it's about time that we try this on shortly. Ta-da! We have a finished pair of swimwear bottoms, and it's a matching set. We are done. And I've had a little try on and I'm very happy with it. So yeah, that really took no time at all to do that last step. Really easy. I decided just to go with a lightning stitch to finish that off. Totally fine. Overall, I'm happy with how the bottoms turn out. Now I do find that all the edges where the elastic has gone in, it's a little bit wavy. Is that because you're stretching it a little bit to fit in with the actual fabric? I mean, when you're just holding them like this, they do look a little bit weird, but putting them on, they fit nice and snug, not a problem. None of this elastic is rolling over, none of it is digging in. So I do believe I have sewn myself a successful pair of bikini bottoms, and I'm very proud of myself. So now that I have a completed St Tropez bikini, let's go see what it looks like. Did I ever think I would be parading around on the internet in my swimwear? Not on your life, but I'm pretty stoked about what I've made here, and it deserves to be shown off. Check out this St Tropez swimsuit. I'm absolutely living for the coverage this top is delivering. The back looks amazing and everything has come together really well. Impressed with how the front crosses over, and there's a really lovely shaping across the bust. The crisscross straps and that lower tie makes this back look just as impressive as the front. Those straps are not too tight, they're not cutting in anywhere, which is always a big win for swimwear. Everything is staying in place, everything feels supported, and overall I think this is a really flattering swimsuit. And let's just take a moment for how awesome this fabric is. I love my choice here. It's a really bold and fun print that tips this make into perfect status. But how does this swimsuit stand up in water? Let's find out. Yep, this St Tropez bikini has been fully tested out in the backyard pool and not just the catwalk, and it is winning big. So do yourself a favour, have a go at making your own swimwear. It's a lot easier than you think. So there we are, we have fully tested that St Tropez swimsuit. And I can tell you now, it held up 100%. Really happy with that result. So there's only really one thing left to do, and that is to give it some Ripper Seams ratings. So for brain friendliness, I'm going to give the St Tropez swimsuit a 5 out of 5. I keep saying it, but Styla Patterns are very thorough. You get a really solid, big, thick book that takes you step by step through the instructions. Within that, they've got really great photographs to help you visualize what the next step is and how to go about it, and quite often putting those stitching lines on there for you. So at no point during this make did I feel out of my depth. No pun intended. I know that swimwear is one of those no-go areas for a lot of sewers. It was definitely for me. I clearly remember at the start of my sewing journey, there were 3 things that I was definitely not going to make. It was going to be my own underwear, it was going to be jeans, and it was going to be swimwear. Well, I can tell you now, I have now made swimwear. In fact, I've made it twice, and the second time, this time round, it was very much a success, and I will be doing it again. I have a box over there, which is from Beyond the Pink Door, which is a kit to make underwear. So I'm pretty certain that jeans isn't too far around the corner. So yeah, I've just made myself some really amazing swimwear, and I didn't think I would ever be in that position. And I do really think it comes down not only to the pattern that you choose, but also how much time you spend to making sure you get it right. So for me, I definitely recommend the St Tropez, and I think I'll definitely explore some of Styla's other swimsuit patterns. Next up is fit, and for this one, I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 as well. Now, for this one, I did hesitate a little bit. I maybe thought I might give it a 4, but ultimately have given it a 5 because this swimsuit fits like a glove. The only real consideration I had for giving it a 4 was that I could possibly have just gone up another size for the top. In the end, based off my measurements, I made the size 8 for the bikini top and a size 14 for the bottom. The size 8 fitted just right. I felt really tight and supported in that, but I do think I could have had a little bit more wiggle room with it if I'd made the size 10. So my only tip here is if you are between sizes, I probably recommend going up rather than down, but I also think it depends on how much stretch you have with your fabric. The bottoms I had absolutely no problem with at all. In fact, if anything, I probably could have taken another inch out of the waistband elastic just for practice, and because it's going to be really, really quick, I'm probably going to sew up another pair of the bottoms, maybe with the yoga band there. I have enough fabric to do so, and it just gives me a good opportunity to practice some of those top stitching techniques, which I kind of wished I had done better. That way, when I tackle swimsuits again in future, because I will, I'm going to be all over those finishing techniques. So keep an eye on my Instagram account, because when I do make those bottoms, I'll likely share the comparison on there. So if you're not following me on Instagram yet, go over there, check out Ripper Seams, and you can keep up to date with all my in-between makes, my current makes, all the extra details over there. That of course leaves overall lovableness, and I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 5 lovable otters. Yes, well deserved. I really, really love the shaping and the style lines of this particular make. Such a big difference from the Megan Nielsen at Cottesloe, which I made the first time round. This St Tropez swimsuit is one of the best swimsuits I've actually ever owned. Like, I will say it out flat just like that. The shaping and the coverage that it gives you in the top is second to none. I absolutely loved it. I loved that there was good coverage at the front, especially with that crossover. I really loved how much coverage it gave you around the side, something that is lacking in a lot of swimsuits that I try on, have owned, all of that. I couldn't believe how much coverage it gave on the sides there. I love the tie back on there. I love the crisscross over the back. Everything felt really snug. I felt supported. Definitely no worries that anything was going to slip out of place. I'm interested to know if the non-tie back version gives you that same level of support, because you can't adjust that. At least with the tie back, you can tighten it up or loosen it off to whatever your preference is. But for me, everything fit perfectly. Likewise for the tankini. Obviously this review is for the tie back version. That's what I make. I'm really interested to see how the other versions of the swimsuit fit. So I might have to go check out what other fun prints Funki Fabrics has and maybe test out those other versions, because at the moment I'm absolutely loving that St Tropez tie back version. And I mean, I got to say, this particular print here, this kind of melty cheetah print, absolutely loved it. I thought this swimsuit looked amazing in it, and yeah, I think I did well with my choice. I'm absolutely over the moon with how these turned out. Now, I have been around beaches and swimming pools my whole entire life. I have worn so many different swimsuits in that time, and I gotta say, this is one of the best swimsuits I had in that whole entire span of time, and I've probably saved myself a small fortune by now being able to make my own swimwear. So for the cost of a meter of fabric and some swim elastic, this is nowhere near the price as what you would pay for a really good quality bikini in a shop. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be making my swimwear going forward, because I think this is actually better quality than a lot of stuff I've bought in the past. So like I said at the start of this video, if you've been tempted to dip your toe into swimwear making, this video is definitely a sign. I definitely recommend the St Tropez pattern. Definitely take your time working through the steps, and I do recommend testing some of the techniques on some scrap fabric first. Give it a go, and hopefully you too might have some great success making your own swimwear. So if you've enjoyed this video and you got something out of it and you would like to see more, then please do go and give me a thumbs up down below. And if you haven't yet subscribed to Ripper Seams, go ahead, go down and click on that subscribe button, as well as clicking on that notification bell. That way you won't miss out on any future Ripper Seams videos. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and dipping into the wonderful world of making your own swimwear. I wish you a wonderful week of sewing, and I'll see you in the next video.